play it cool. I am many things. I have been many things. Warm and green. Cold and gray. Devastated and dying. Now I am alive again. But I fear my new children imitate the old ones. Some claim the mountains or the forests, or build fortresses on the plains. They begin to mistrust and prepare for war. Still, I love them as only a mother can, and now I fear for them. I feel the winds of change begin to blow, and this time it may be an all-out storm. I pray that my children will weather this tempest. For nothing is immortal, and one day, they may have to survive without me.
So, that was the intro for Endless Legend. Alright, before I continue, I'll note that I had to sort of skip the Amplitude Studios icon that sort of begins at the start of this, game. So, this is another game that's made by the same people who made Endless Space and Dungeon of the Endless. Those are two games I've already done Let's Plays of. And this is another 4X game that they basically put out. I'll know a few things about Endless Legend. I put quite a few hours into playing this game already. And recently they came out with a new expansion which basically added another faction and a little bit more gameplay to the game. But for the most part, I have a pretty good understanding how the game plays, so well, let's just sort of get into it and we'll go from there. Now, I'll note that I'll be playing on hard difficulty with 8 empires. I'm going to have 2 continents that are basically going to spawn. Basically, you'll notice that this is sort of like, Civilization 5 and how this is sort of set up here. Basically, this game is, you're going to notice right away, it's very much like Civilization 5, but yet it's not like Civilization 5. You'll notice quite a few, similarities and quite a few differences, so to speak. It's a 4X that basically stands alone, and it does the 4X job very well, basically. I'll note that I'll be starting with the Vultures here. They're basically the faction that you could basically buy a DLC for in Endless Space. I think the Vultures were like, basically, the Vultures are like crashed Space Marines that basically land on the planet and basically survived here. Anyhow, let's put in a few more factions in here. Let's go with the Broken Lords, perhaps. We'll put in the Necrophages. Now we'll put in the Ardent Mages. We'll put in the Roving Clans. We'll put in a Draken. It's going to basically get a nice little, mix of stuff here. We'll put in some Cultists. We'll put in some Allayi. Now, I want to note that it's very important to note that with the factions here, unlike, say, Civilization 5, this is one main thing that I want to note. The factions in this game are very unique in how they basically play and interact with each other. For example, if this Roving Clans guy right here, this guy is essentially a bunch of traders and explorers and stuff like that. They basically work by basically sort of keeping to themselves and only going to war when we really have to. And their ways of going to war, shall we say, are basically mercantile in that they're basically by mercenaries to do it. And then you got say down here, you've got say the Ardent Mages. These guys are basically so we say this game is sort of a mix of sci-fi and fantasy. These guys are sort of scientist mages, basically is what they are. And they essentially use magics to basically give themselves boosts and stuff like this and that. And then they can also get boosts to combat abilities such from your magic. I'll get into what these guys are all about when we actually get into the game and meet them, but I want to note that the factions, they play a really big part in how the game basically plays. And it can't be understated. Anyhow, let's start the game and let's get going. And I will try to start up a game of the falters here. Now you get this like little rich bit of like text that appears down here when you start a new game. Blowing anomalies, roads, pearls, and all this other stuff.
Our legend spoke of a great journey beneath the stars. Safe in our halls and minds, we ignored these old tales. But then the great quake cracked our halls open, revealing ancient secrets and relics. These unknown relics carried our patterns, our images, hints of a hidden past. We took them and fled the destruction, seeking a new life on the surface. Now the legends and relics of our past show the way to our future. The journey will be dangerous, sometimes deadly, but we go forth without fear or ignorance. For courage and knowledge are the bywords of the Vultures.
And yeah, I'll note that kind of like Endless Space, all the factions have their own opening cinematics like that too. Alright, you're saying hi to me. I'll note that there's going to be a few similarities between Endless Space and Endless Legends in some ways. And for example, this guy here, the Draken, he's basically a guy I put in. He basically gets to know where you are, starting-wise, I think, in the game. And he also gets to speak to you right away. So he basically is already interacting with me, as you can see. I'm not going to start a negotiation with him, but well, basically we really can't do anything with negotiations just yet. We're just starting here. And there's something called influence, which basically governs how you can basically do diplomacy in this game. So that'll be something to get into later. So that's the only guy I know in my diplomacy string right now. There's basically the other 7 or 6 guys that are, you know, in the game somewhere. But for now, he knows where I am, and I don't know where he is. There's all the map I know right now. And yeah, I'm taking a swig of water as I go along here. So, I'll note that, as you can probably already see from here, this game is basically divided into, like, you know, a hexagonal grid, kind of like Civilization 5. And you have units, and you basically have, like, tiles of, like, all this different stuff. You also have these things called ruins, that are basically like, kind of like goody huts that you have, like, Civilization 5, but they work a little bit differently in that they sort of stay in the map. And all the other guys can, like, sort of play with them as well. So, I can, like, loot this, and then, like, another faction can come along and loot this as well as they want to. Yeah, stuff like called anomalies that are like basically going to give you like bonuses. So you basically get like an improvement bonus from this one right here. You get like this science and food from these tiles right here. So it basically boosts up our food and our dust. This like thing here, this salt desert. There's an emerald deposit. That's basically a strategic resource, which basically you mine. Now, something to note about this game. Unlike in Civilization 5, you basically have armies as opposed to units. So, basically in Civilization 5, you basically have, like, you know, you have like a big grid, and you have like a whole bunch of units on that grid. In Endless Space, you actually have it so that you basically have armies. And basically on the grid, you can have, like, you know, an army of, like, units all together like this. So we have, like, a cell unit here, we have a marine here, a marine there, I have a starting hero. And much like in Endless Space, you have starting heroes kind of like this over here. And they all have like different stats and do different stuff. I'll get into them a little bit later, but for now, let's keep you waiting, I guess, for that. For now, I'm going to separate these guys just to sort of get a viewing of the land, so I can basically see what this like initial territory looks like. We just found ourselves the Geldarius. So, in this game, there's no barbarians, but there are like these sort of minor factions like this. And this is like a minor village of like, you know, basically a race that isn't really playing, but it'll basically do barbarian type things until I sort of deal with it. I'll deal with it a little bit later, but for now we're just going to leave it be. Alright, looks like this guy's gone as far as he can. So this is all let's see over here. Let's go and take this Marine here. And we'll have him go right there. We're gonna make these guys walk up in this direction toward this ruin up here. So these ruins, they're basically, they're like goodie huts, and you can basically loot them. So I can go here, kind of search them. And this will basically give you clues at the locations like real treasure, enemies, quests, or nothing at all. And our initial search here got us 40 dust. So we got a little bit of dust for initially searching right here. And there's a couple more anomalies up here. I'm basically looking around for the anomalies right here, by the way, because they basically govern things I can basically do. And they'll be important later on, these like anomalies. Let's separate our hero here. She's basically stuff I can separate as well. We'll put her here. She'll search this this ruin. We got some strategic resource called glass steel. Glass steel is basically an initial resource for like monetary type of stuff, or barely like, you know, weapons or armor, if you want them to. Let's go up here. Alright, so here's like basically the heart of his territory, so to speak. There's basically 4 anomalies in sight range of my settler here. 2 of them are over here, right next to each other, but something I know is I really like to get like approval rating early on, because it basically helps you out a lot. So I'm actually really tempted to say go over here. And you'll notice they basically, I'll actually do this first. There's basically different types of resources in this game, and if you play Civilization 5 before, you'll probably notice that a lot of them are going to be very similar. You basically have like, you know, food, industry. Dust is basically your commerce, and it basically governs how much income you're going to get. You have science, which basically governs how much, like, you know, scientific output you get. And then of course over here we have like, you know, this thumbs up thing that basically signals approval. That basically is for like your cities. Basically, the more approval you have, the happier your citizens are. So you have approval to worry about in this game. And you basically want to sort of max out, like, you know, different resources early on, sort of get the best, you know, benefit you can. So if I go over here, I'll basically get lots of science output. I'll get approval rating. I won't get much dust, but I'll get, you know, pretty decent food and industry. If I just go up, say, over here, I get a whole lot of food and, you know, not a whole much of a lot of else. If, say, I was to go over here, I get like a lot of food and, you know, a little bit of other stuff. If I go into the forest, I get like lots of, like, you know, production. But I think what I do is going to build over here, because this seems like a really good starting area over here. We'll get lots of science, and well, you'll basically see what's going to happen when we put this city down. Basically, how cities work: you build them, and then they have like this sort of like hexagonal radius around where you built your city, and that basically governs like the types of resources you're going to collect from the city. So basically, these 6 tiles here are being used to basically generate resources for the city here. And if I go into it, I can like do some other stuff in here as well. I think we're initially going to build ourselves a Founders Memorial. I'll note, by the way, that we have like defensive militia in this game, so I don't have to relieve units inside cities to really defend them as much. Though I do, it's good to have like our armies around just to help your militias out if there's like a big, massive army coming at you. I'll note at the top here you get lots of information. Let's go over it in a bit. Yes, I know, swigging water, but I'm doing lots of talking here, so bear with it. Alright, so this is sort of like give you an idea what's going on up here. You basically have your approval rating, you have like, you know, your population, how fast it grows. You have basically your upkeep and city improvements. You have security. Security is basically important for espionage. If I have like, you know, improvements, basically you can see the improvements right here, but for the most part, just, you know, whatever. The city info also includes like, you know, types of resources it gets. So going from left to right, you basically have food, which basically governs like how much like, you know, extra food you get to basically use to basically produce more population. Industry, how fast it is to basically produce more stuff. Science, which is basically used to basically, you know, increase your scientific output. Dust, which is basically for commerce. Basically use it to like buy stuff and stuff like that. And then you got something called influence over here. Now, something a little bit different than what is it? Civilization 5. Unlike in Civilization 5, you actually have to get like influence, which is basically used for diplomatic treason and such. So influence is basically used to govern, like, you know, basically diplomatic actions in this game. You use it for basically declaring war, declaring peace, doing trade deals, making trades of resources, sparring, stuff like that. You also use it to influence the minor villages around as well when you get to it, and I'll basically show that off as well. These resources are called DFuxa, so basically have food, industry, discovery, well, I guess it's basically food, industry, dust, science, and influence. For some reason they have dust and science backwards, but whatever. Alright, so that's basically all the stuff up here. Down here you can like build stuff. I'm already starting to build the Founders Memorial, which basically lets me get a one-time boost, which basically helps, you know, improve my seat of power here. And, you know, the other guys I have in the city, like, you know, militia-wise. If I have one, there'd be a hero sign. This right here, basically there's like a, you know, a unit governor. They basically help to improve your city if they have, like, you know, governor bonuses. And that's basically the screen for the most part. And you know what? Let's try and go 10 turns before basically call it for this, like, first episode. I'm not going to, like, bury you in too much information here. Or I'm basically not going to try and play too much with, like, you know, this episode. We're just going to go into, like, you know, sort of, like, jumping into the game, shall we say. So, we're going to end our first turn. Whoops. Something to note, by the way, is that you can't actually end your turn without doing discovery first, so... here's, like, the tech tree and all that in this game, by the way. Basically, there's, like, you know, 6, like, sort of ages that you basically go through in this game, and in each age you can basically research technologies. Now, something to know about the technologies in this game, unlike in, like, you know, Civilization 5, you don't actually have branching technologies, where, like, you know, you have to, like, research this in order to research, like, something over here. How this basically works, you basically have to unlock 9 technologies from previous areas in order to basically unlock the next era. So after I get 7 more technologies here, I basically have 2 to start off with. I have, like, open pit mining and public library. After I get these, like, you know, 9 in here, I'll basically unlock this era, and I can start researching whatever I want in here. So if I want to, I can start researching, say, mill foundry, which basically will help me improve my output for, you know, industry. So we'll get that right away. And after that, let's maybe focus on language square so I can talk to minor villages. Basically, how this game works, there's basically a technology that lets you talk to basically the minor villages, and this basically lets you parlay or bribe them. If you parlay with them, you can try and do a quest to basically pacify them, or you can just bribe them with money if you want to, but you need to have this done first in order to do it. If you don't have language square, you only have the option of basically attacking the minor village, which is, you know, not usually a good idea unless you're a military force, which I can be, but we'll try and avoid it for the early part of the game. I'll note that there's other stuff as well to note. There's basically down some over here. Basically, there's something called Diplomats Advance, which basically lets you get peace treaties with other factions. I'll note that is in the start of the game, by the way. Let's go back in here. You actually start in a state of Cold War. So basically, you have like 4 basically statuses with like the enemies. You have alliances, you have war, you have Cold War, and you have peace. And how this basically works, each of these basically have different, like, you know, sort of determinations between how you basically interact with the other, like, factions. In all-out war, you're basically at all-out war, and, you know, it's pretty obvious what you're doing. You're just trying to kill each other. In a state of Cold War, you're not really at peace, but you're not at war with each other. You can't attack each other's cities, though if you want to, you can attack their units if they're outside their territory. Peace basically means that you don't attack each other. You're basically, you know, playing good friends. You can trade with each other, stuff like that. And then alliance is basically, you basically earn influence for each unit killed in battle against an ally's opponent, and you basically share like map and like, you know, vision and stuff like that. Basically, your allies. It's, you know, what you can sort of expect, kind of. Though I'll note that one major thing about alliances, by the way, you don't actually go to war automatically against like enemies if like they go to war with you. So, for example, if this guy, if he's at war with like the red guy here, and I'm not at war with him, I don't automatically go to war with him as if I ally like the this guy here. So just to throw that out there. Anyhow, I said we're gonna try and go 10 turns, so let's do that a little bit. And I feel take another swig of water. And yes, there's lore. I probably won't read all this lore, but, you know, I'll let you basically scroll down and read it yourself if you want to. So they call themselves the Vaulters. And basically, this basically tells you a little bit about like these quests basically sort of navigate how you basically play the game. By the way, something I know about these quests: if you actually follow this quest line, and it's actually a very long quest line, it's sort of important to win the game. Just to throw that out there. Basically, if you go through this like full quest line, it will lead you to your one or two options that you can do right after you basically get there. You can either A, try to leave the plant, and if you don't know what that means, basically play Endless Space and sort of read a little bit about the Vaulters in that game. Essentially, you try and find like a spaceship to get off the planet. Or B, you can basically go for a wonder victory, which is something else I'll basically get to when we are sort of winning a game at that point. Alright, so this first quest, my saviors have retreated from the chaos of the subterranean realm, seeking Sam Christian Archer's service. Our first task is to assimilate a minor faction. So basically, my first order of objective is to pacify at least one village of a minor faction and then assimilate them. So basically, I have to sort of bring in one of these minor factions into the fold, so to speak, and you'll basically see what that's all about when I get to it. That's basically the reason I'm going to get Language Square, by the way, is just so I can like sort of like peacefully talk to like these guys here. I could attack them right off the bat if I want to, and I might. Maybe we'll do that. We'll actually attack this guy. I could do that. Let's have you go over here. Are you close enough? Alright, I think we can actually pull this off right now. So let's go. Let's go up here. So something to know about this game, by the way. When you actually attack someone in this game, notice that these guys, they're like all like spread out over here, and you've got like city over here. And you can basically, attack. Basically, something in this game that sort of happens is if stuff is very close together like this, they still all join to the same battle. So unlike in Civilization 5 where like, one unit goes after one unit, you can actually have a whole bunch of armies in like this section of the map go after this many armies in that section of the map. So this is what we're pretty much doing here. I'm basically going to have this guy, have all these guys join me and attack these like ice wargs over here. And that's what these Geldurus are all about. They're ice wargs. Alright, so these guys are basically cavalry. They basically move pretty fast. They're actually going to move faster than me, so he's going to move 1, 2, 3. He's going to attack over here when he gets the chance. Now, I can only deploy in like a certain area. Basically, you have like these areas of stone where you can basically deploy your troops. And I can like deploy it basically anywhere in this blue area that you can basically sort of see. It's a little bit hard to see, but there's basically these like blue tiles that basically I can basically deploy into. We're gonna have these guys sort of deploy back here for now, and then we're gonna let these guys sort of come to me, and they're basically gonna attack these like guys that'll spawn over here in a moment. Basically, what's gonna happen here? I'm starting out attacking with this guy here, but there's basically these like 2 spawn points where extra units will come in. And basically, I've now got like both of these like archer type areas ready to go, and I also have on top of it my hero as well. So these guys, these ice wargs, they can basically move like 4 tiles. 4 tiles, so they move on, take 2 tiles to go through. There's other tiles like that as well. There's mountain tiles which basically they can't move through because they're cavalry, they don't like fly or anything like that. So if this guy wants to get to me, he has to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And he can basically move like anywhere in this like sort of area right here. So this guy's probably going to get attacked in a bit, but nothing I can really do about it. If possible, I'm going to have my hero move up to here. So she basically has a speed of 2. What she's going to do, she's probably going to move right down over here. Or try to move like, to the space if there's an enemy in the way or other units in the way. We'll see how this basically is going to go for a moment. So let's just launch this attack, and basically what's going to happen, you're basically going to see these guys go in this order. We're basically going to have the hero go first, and she's going to start shooting, like say at this guy here. She'll probably move right here at the first turn. Then like these ice warriors will get a go, they'll probably attack like over here perhaps. then these guys will go after them. So, launch. Actually, you know what? Let's try and keep these guys moving. I actually want to move off the spawn points here so that like more guys can spawn in the map. Basically, if these are covered, nothing will spawn from them, and they really want to have them like uncovered so that more guys can spawn to attack these guys. Whoops, he actually moved the wrong way. There's actually space to the wrong way here. Luckily, this guy can't attack me there because, like, you know, there's a hill in the way, but if they go right there, these guys are going to get attacked. So apparently I went after this guy here. One guy spawned over here, so this is a militia unit. And this guy will basically go after, like, these guys over here in a bit. How about you just attack this guy here. Go up there and attack whoever you want. If you can, go up over there. This guy will probably get attacked before, like, anything, but whatever. Let's launch another attack. So there's the hero attacking. Now, unfortunately, this guy's going to attack on a hill, which is basically going to give them basically a debuff. So they're going to take a lot of damage from that. And they'll probably be finished off by this attack here. So there goes those guys. Now we got a critical attack there, which basically did a whole lot of damage, so this guy took a max bleeding there. Now we got a high advantage on this guy, so we should finish this guy off easily enough. Now, I'll note that some units do better damage against our units. These guys, they're basically spearmen. They basically have cavalry slayers, so they actually do more damage as cavalry type units like this guy. So my militias are actually really deadly against these guys here. Alright, let's see how this goes. We should finish this guy off fairly quickly here. Okay, he's going to come back to attack someone. These guys here, apparently. And that's it for that guy there. And the battle ends. So there's a little bit about how the game basically works. You basically have, like, you know, these, like, you know, massive battles. Now, I lost a unit there, which kind of sucks, but oh well. Early on, that can happen. Alright, so basically after you destroy, like, you know, a village like that, you basically have to rebuild them, but they basically stay in the map. So basically there's, like, you know, destroyed my village. This village has been pacified and destroyed, but no one controls it. So if I want to, if I capture this land over here, I can basically make use of this area. But until then, we have to basically hold off from doing so. Let's have you go up here. Alright, so here's like a passive village in my area. These guys are Jodis. They're basically they're basically going to be ranged units. These guys over here. I'll have to build up a sizable force to either go after them, or I'll have to get, like, you know, language square to basically deal with them. That's what I'll have to basically do. Alright, so language square will basically be in 2 turns. I might as well get these guys to go up here in this direction, so I can basically parlay with them in a bit. Might as well merge these guys back together. So there's basically an army. These guys are basically piled up with the hero, Petrov Judet. Now let's move back over here. And there we go, we got language square. So now I can talk to these guys. And while we're at it, let's maybe get the mercenary market. This is a very important tech, by the way. It basically lets you hire more heroes. Alright, well anyways, let's go over here. So, you basically saw what I did here for, like, attacking this guy. the more preferable route for me early on is actually to do something like bribery or parlay. So basically, I've got 2 more options with these modern militaries now. I can either attack them again, but I can also like bribe them for a little bit of money, or I can just parlay with them, which basically tries to initiate a quest to basically pacify them instead. So minor faction major trust. Sure, you have cities and armies, power and wealth, and lots of fancy equipment, but this village is full of cynics. They will only believe that you're a worthy leader if you show them that the other minor factions have been content to join your ranks. If you are able to show an army integrates your, other people into his ranks, they will be assured that you have competency to lead beings of the village as well. So, basically this guy wants me to return to this village with an army consisting of a minimum of 3 minor faction units. So, these guys basically want me to convert someone else, and go from there, so to speak. Alright, so basically how this works. This quest basically requires that I convert another minor faction first. So, take it however you will. But basically, if I don't want to do this quest, I can attack them or bribe them. They'll fill this quest if I do that. You know what I think we're going to do? We're just going to explore, I think, over here, perhaps in this direction. And apparently there's another guy over here that's certain. Maybe I'll attack these guys. I could do that. Alright, well, we'll end our turn again. And let's see if I can parlay with them to see what they want. Alright, rough men. You've encountered a tribe of certain who wish to live in peace. There's only one way to do this in the world of Roga. Patrol this region with troops to drive out enemy armies. Alright, so this is a really easy pacification quest. All I have to do for this one is essentially keep outside enemy troops for 5 turns. And that's it to basically win this one. So, I have to basically find enemy armies and vanquish them, so to speak. Ooh, purple. There's a major faction over this direction, apparently. So, yeah, there's basically other factions that I'm playing with, and basically here's like the pink one over here. You want to be very careful dealing with other factions early on, just so you know. Let's build up a mill foundry over here, I guess. And let's just keep marching over in this direction for now. There's some titanium. Now, I'll note by the way that as you basically sort of continue on, you'll basically get experience for your heroes. And this is basically used to basically improve their output and doing stuff. The vaulters basically have, like, you know, basically here's how the stuff works first and foremost. Each hero has their, like, own class. And in this case, this guy is a ranged hero, so she basically has ranged type talents. You also have your faction, who's basically, like, you know, she's a vaulter, so she has the faction of vaulter. So this is basically vaulter skills over here. And then you have like common skills that all heroes basically have. So these skills, they basically like, you know, let you basically influence how like your like heroes basically interact with the world. So for example, if I go for like this class stuff, it'll basically give her stuff like, you know, agile mover, more vision. So this is fairly good exploratory stuff. I can also get more attack if I want to. Eventually I can get more range. So really all important stuff over here. If I want to as well, I could also go for like, you know, science and stuff. So basically the vaulters are very good at managing cities. And essentially you'll get like, you know, stuff like, you know, more fortification or stuff like this. Or you can get stuff like, you know, improved defense on the hero. I think early on, let's just go with a little bit more movement. So she can move around a little bit easier. And oh boy, this like icon here indicates when you level up your heroes. And let's just have her march right into this guy's territory. I'm going to try and find this guy's city so I can basically interact with them. So basically, much like myself, there's going to be a city somewhere in this area over here. And I'll note that basically when I sell in this territory, it turned blue. So how this game basically works is basically divided into like territories. And when you basically sell a city inside territory, you basically own that territory. So somewhere in this territory here, where like the pink borders are, there's going to be the pink guy's city. And we'll see what that is. There's the Sisters of Mercy over here. Oops, science. Alright, at this point, let's maybe start recruiting Dawn officers. Now, I'll note, by the way, that in this game, basically all like the different factions have their own different units, and you have to basically researchers to get them. So, early on, I basically have like the Vulture's Archer unit. I have to basically research like their next unit, which is basically a Dawn officer here. And then in Era 2, we basically have access to the Titan, which is basically another unit they can build. If I also want to as well, I can try and hire heroes. So that can be stuff I can do as well at some point. So here's like the heroes I can hire. And basically I've got myself an Ardent Mage, who's basically a support hero. We got the Rolling Clans guy here, he's basically a ranged guy who moves really fast. And then we got the Necrophage guy here, which is basically an infantry hero. So different types of heroes. Alright, let's try and find a pink guy. And I guess we'll move over in this direction. Wow, lots of big gut reaches over here. And as I said, I want to be very careful warring around this guy's territory because he can attack me. I'm in a state of Cold War with him. And it's apparently Allayi. So accept our greeting, stranger. We are the Allayi, loyal children, defenders of Mother Algra. Alright, so these guys are here. There's his army. And here's mine. And since I found him, let's just go over here. And there's a city. So there's the Allayi's first city. And by the way, you'll notice I have something called infiltrate right here. Basically, like you see, basically your security score here, and like infiltrate here. This stuff basically correlates to espionage. So that's also another action that requires influence. Maybe I'll show it off a little bit later, but for now, there's another thing for influence. By the way, just to sort of show it off. And one more turn before I think we exit from this game. Alright, let's go over here. Alright, I got some dust from there. I'm gonna walk right next to the city pretty much and look over here, but for the most part, this is his territory over here. He basically has access to pretty nice stuff, actually. Down here, he's got an approval bonus thing right here. He's got some nice stuff up here. All nice stuff, basically. And that's it for turn 10. Well, I failed a quest for pacifying the Saracens. Apparently there's enemy army somewhere in that area, but oh well. Nothing to do about it now. Probably the Allayi walked into there, and that's why I failed that quest. Alright, well, that's been it for episode 1 of Endless Legends with the Vultures. We'll basically see how this basically goes. I'll note that these games can be kind of long, but basically, early on here I'm just doing a whole lot of explanation and stuff. And that probably won't, continue as I continue on. There'll be less to explain as I keep going on. But for now, we'll save this game. And I'll see you guys next time. For now, take care. And by the way, you get to this sort of stuff when you quit. I guess do this, couldn't I? Well, that's a little bit slow. Alright, well, Endless Legends. We'll see how it goes. For now, take care.